This reality TV star just got arrested for murdering her boyfriend and then cutting up his body. Her name's Tamika Chester. She's 34 years old, a model and actor, and she was living in Queensland, Australia. A few years back when she was around 20, she was on this reality TV show called Beauty and the Geek. But after the show, she kind of like disappeared from the public eye and just started doing her own thing. She started modeling for Playboy and even started her own fans only. Say it backwards. And then sometime in 2025, literally this year, she moves to this quiet little fishing town called Port Lincoln, which is in South Australia. And that's where she meets this guy named Julian Story. And unlike Tamika, who was this former reality TV star, Julian is just a regular, private, quiet, low profile kind of guy. But you know what they say, opposites attract, and within a few weeks they're dating and living together. And like most couples do, they get into arguments. But this wasn't your typical relationship drama. They were fighting every single day, screaming, slamming doors, disturbing all the neighbors. Like their relationship was basically a war zone. And it got so bad someone actually had to call the police. And I'm like, maybe this is the moment where you realize your relationship is toxic and you need to separate, but they stay together. So fast forwarding to the night of June 17th, that's where things get really horrific. Tamika and Julian get into another massive argument and nobody knows where it started, but it escalates really fast. And in the middle of that fight, Tamika allegedly grabs a knife and starts stabbing Julian until he's no longer alive. But that wasn't the end of it, because what she allegedly did next is going to make you lose your mind. She cuts off his entire body, including his head. And then, as if that wasn't enough horror for one night, she allegedly sets her entire apartment on fire. I guess it was to destroy all the evidence or make it look like it was an accident. And then, like nothing even happened, she puts on her coat, grabs her 3 dogs, and casually walks out the building. A neighbor sees this smoke and runs outside to ask her, is she okay? What happened? And this woman just says, nothing, and then casually keeps walking her dog. Now the neighbor's confused, but he doesn't have time to figure this out. There's a building on fire. So he grabs a hose, runs inside, and tries to stop it, but the second he walks into that apartment, he sees Julian's body and there's no head. He's traumatized. I mean, no one prepares you to see that. But somehow he pulls himself together and calls the police. And when they arrive, they find Tamika in the backyard just standing there. Police described her as catatonic, which is just a smart way of saying she was completely unresponsive, and it seemed like her brain just shut off. She gets arrested, but because of her mental state, they sent her straight to the psychiatric facility. And for weeks, they searched for Julian's head, but they couldn't find it anywhere. Until 6 weeks later, a woman is walking with her dog just outside of Portland. The dog just stopped and began sniffing something inside of the bush, and that's when the woman looked down and realized it was a human skull. That skull belonged to Julian Story. So that means when Tamika walked out of the burning building that night with her 3 dogs, she most likely had Julian's head tucked inside her coat. That is beyond terrifying. I can't even wrap my head around that. As of right now, everything I said is alleged. Tamika has only been accused of this crime, so don't sue me, but yeah.